Okay, we're going to start with talking about a couple leadership theories that I think are really important, that kind of transcend the public sector, private sector, any job that you happen to go into. So let's start with leadership versus management. Leadership is kind of the buzzword. It's been the buzzword for like the last, 10, 15 years now. And management, it is, kind of like the evil word, the evil type of leadership. But it's important to remember that effective leaders also have to manage. So I want you to get that out of your mind that yes, leaders inspire, leaders get people, to come together for a common good, for the overall good of the organization. But they also make sure that they keep people on track, that they're holding people accountable. So it's especially important in law enforcement where you definitely have to have oversight. Any job where you have limited direct supervision, you have to have that oversight component. So effective leaders actually do both. They inspire, they motivate. So the relationship part of leadership is, yes, you care about people, you motivate them, you inspire them, you lead by example. And then what you'll hear a lot about, the other buzzword in a lot of leadership research and literature is you hear like task orientation, and this is the management side of that. And that's these are the leaders that ensure employees are coming to work and leaving on time. They're doing their job. They're following the rules. Again, all those oversight mechanisms, which are important. So good leaders hold employees accountable, but they also inspire employees to all work towards organizational goals. So it's kind of like the goal of ethics, where you've read about at the very beginning of your ethics book, it talked about that your ethics statement isn't like a prescribed, right versus wrong. It's how the whole goal is to motivate everyone to do the right ethical thing for the right reasons, because you can't dictate every single scenario. You can't make people be ethical. You have to inspire them to be ethical. It's kind of the same thing with leadership, where people follow people they're inspired to follow. People follow people that they want to work towards a bigger mission, not just because it's you're told that you need to listen to this person. That maybe it will get somebody to come to work, and for fear of losing their job, that they'll be there on time and leave on time. But it's not really getting employees to work towards the mission. You can't watch your employees at all time, so you want to have that relational component too. So just like with ethics, where you want to inspire and motivate employees to do the right thing for the right reasons, with leadership, you want to inspire and motivate your employees to follow you and follow the organization and work towards a common mission for the right reasons. Okay, next we're going to talk about transactional leadership. And this is a leadership style that's like management. It focuses on supervision, organization, performance. Um, Basically, it's trying to promote people to do their jobs through compliance, through rewards and punishments, and so forth. And again, an effective leader recognizes the need to have these managerial skills, but and of course, there's going to be consequences if somebody doesn't perform to task, or is continuously late and so forth. But as opposed to there being a punishment, the idea is to grow and develop employees to share with them the reason why everyone needs to be working towards the common goal, and to put them on a plan to succeed, as opposed to be more punitive, where it's like, okay, well, you didn't show up on time, so we're going to write you up, and then it's like on a path towards failure. You want to adopt those more relational skills where you hold people accountable, but you put them on a path towards success. This slide just summarizes what I just talked about a minute ago. And if you look at the third line down, the third bullet point, I think this is what's so important to remember for any leader. So when employees make a mistake, the goal is to train and develop the employee to perform better, not to focus solely on the punitive measures. So we always want to think of long-term goals, that we want to develop employees so that we can all work together towards an effective goal. Okay, let's take a minute and talk about oversight. So the transformational leader obviously has oversight. That's one of the ways you're holding employees accountable, is through oversight. You want to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to be doing it. Of course, if they're not, the whole goal is that you want to develop and train and help them learn and improve. But in order to identify any kind of deficits or any kind of shortcomings, you actually have to be involved and engaged. So a couple ways that you do that: obviously, holding employees accountable through oversight, and then also leading by example. And when you fail to do these two crucial things, you actually create an unethical and formal culture. So formal versus informal. Your formal culture, these are your rules and regulations. Anybody who's law enforcement, you'll have like a policy book that's 3 inches high, as far it lists out every single thing you can and cannot do within the organization. But actually develops within the organization is informal. So you have like what people actually do within the day, and they're performing their job. So it's basically what is permitted, accepted, and valued. So you have the rules and regulations. This is formal, but in every organization, an informal culture develops. And this is what is permitted, accepted, and valued within the organization. So when you don't have oversight, you're going to have an ethical, informal culture that will develop. And we see this time and time again in many law enforcement agencies that have systematic problems, and ethical issues that take place, and ethical officers. And it happens in these professions a lot because there's not a lot of direct supervision. There's a lot of discretion. Officers are out, patrolling. The detectives are out, conducting investigations, and nobody's actually right there with them in the office, where it's a lot easier to oversee your employees. So that's why ethics also comes in. So you need employees to understand why it's important to do the right thing at the right time, why it's important to act ethically. That's ethics. You want employees to be motivated to do the right things for the right reasons, because they're working towards a common mission and within the realm of the organization, and that's leadership. So the leader needs to inspire an ethical culture so it all works together. So as a leader, one of your jobs is to ensure that your employees are acting ethically. Now, when they don't act ethically, and this permeates through the organization, in the informal environment, then you have organizational stress. So one logical question that follows is, why should public sector leaders promote an ethical work environment? So one obvious reason is to ensure the organization is upholding its mission to ethically serve the public. Remember, public sector organizations exist to serve the public, and they need to do so ethically, otherwise the organization has no purpose. So also, you have to realize that as a leader, you are competing for the best resources. The best resources are your people. So in order to attract and maintain and keep the best people, you have to have a positive work environment. So research shows when the level of ethics-induced stress increases, okay? So ethics-induced stress, this is stress that comes from the organization doing one thing, or people within the organization doing one thing that is totally goes against the values of somebody else within the organization. I cannot, you feel uncomfortable because people are doing things unethically. That's ethics-induced stress. Okay. Job satisfaction decreases, organizational conflict increases, and employee turnover is likely greater. So as a leader, we want to create a positive work environment. So we want to make sure that Our mission is clearly outlined, that everybody understands the mission, everybody has buy-in towards the mission, they're all working towards the same common goal. We understand why it's important to do our jobs ethically. So just to wrap up, the effective public sector leader, okay, promotes an ethical work environment, demonstrates relational aspects of leadership, demonstrates care, concern, inclusion for employees, leads by example, but also holds employees accountable. So you don't totally abandon these managerial or task-oriented leadership traits. No, you add on to them. You hold people accountable, but you inspire them, you motivate them, you actually care about them. Not just knowing their name, but helping them to achieve their personal goals within the organization. And then you demonstrate that the organization holds public value. You make sure that your organization is meeting the objective that's been set forth to serve the public and to do so ethically.